Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. We have student athletes, we have supporters, and we also have some media here. We also have an audience on NSUDemons.com watching live around the country, and we also will have people around Natchitoches and Natchitoches Parish watching on NSU TV throughout the month of August as we get ready for what's going to be an exciting athletic year at Northwestern, and certainly it's going to start off with a bang with our fall sports. To talk about our athletic program, entering his 23rd season as the director of athletics at Northwestern, and a man who watched HBO last night at 9 o'clock, no doubt, as Hard Knocks has focused on his Cleveland Browns and their renaissance. Our director of athletics, Greg Burke.
Thank you, Doug. Well, for the record, first of all, I did not watch Hard Knocks. So I'm just going to wait till the real deal happens, and we'll watch Baker Mayfield get it done. But in all seriousness, if this was church, I would be the preacher and say, everybody move to the front pews, but y'all just stay where you are. Welcome to everybody here. Welcome to everybody watching, streaming. I'm sure April, they're watching in Canada. Liv, they're watching in Nevada right now. Did you tell them you're going to get to speak up here? Come on now. So this is a worldwide thing. But look, there's a Christmas carol sung by Andy Williams, to which almost everybody in this room, except maybe me and a few others, are thinking, who in the world is Andy Williams? But it starts out, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Does that give you a hint? Okay. Andy Williams says Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. Greg Burke, the athletic director, says right now is the most wonderful time of the year. I say this all the time. If you can't get stoked about this time of the year when you work on a college campus, then you probably need to go find something else to do. It's just awesome to see first of all, the student athletes coming back and to see the campus really coming back to life. And this campus has a ton of life right now. We're not sure exactly what, we're going to have a record enrollment for the second straight year. A lot of renovations going on around our campus. A lot of really good things going on in our athletic program. I mean, our student athletes are doing a great job in the classroom, doing a great job in the community, and competitively, we've got a ton of momentum coming out of the spring sports season, and I feel very good about the sports that are sitting here carrying that forward. And doesn't matter if it's the football guys and your vibe, you know what I mean, your vibe started in January and it has not stopped. I mean, it's on definitely an uphill tick. Volleyball team, all I got to say is 11, 18, 18. Am I right? That's all I got to say. And soccer student athletes, they have no idea, do they? They being the people we're going to play, they have no idea what they're going to deal with this year. I'm just very excited, as I always am, about the start of the year. Looking very much forward to hearing from our coaches and our student athletes today. Let's get it going. Fork 'em Demons.
Before we get going on Northwestern sports in specific, we're going to hear from a former walk-on receiver at Northwestern who went on after he found out he couldn't play any more football because of a neck injury, went on to LSU, became a doctor, and became one of the most influential people in the sports world today. That's because Dr. Julian Bales is a leading proponent of concussion research. And that really began to hit, if you think about it, about 10 years ago when the NFL finally started to recognize they couldn't ignore this man who was trying to tell them what needed to happen for safety, not only in the NFL, but in the sports world in general. And so many great things have happened to make sports safer since then. And we're thrilled to have a member of Northwestern's Long Purple Line, a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, a Natchitoches native, in from Chicago with his daughter as a senior at LSU. And the rest of his family here visiting this week, and he came to football practice yesterday, watched you guys, and he's here today to share a little bit of the updates in concussion research and sports science and how things are going to evolve here very recently, very soon, in fact, with the NFL season and new rules in that way. Dr. Julian Bales.
Good afternoon. Great to be here. Thank you for the introduction. I wasn't fast enough to be a wide receiver, but that makes me feel good. As Doug said, a lot of things have changed the last decade. since the discovery of the issue of brain injury in sports, particularly football. But although football gets picked on, it's not just football, it's soccer, which is #1 for girls, and then it's wrestling for boys. It's in the north, ice hockey, lacrosse. For girls, it's also basketball and ice hockey. So it's not just football. Every sport at every level has to work to take head contact out, and that's hard to do. After playing football 10 years myself, I know it's a very hard game to play without, even if you're not trying, head contact. So beginning at the NFL, you know, we're going to see two big issues this year. In addition to the national anthem issue, is going to be on the field, the new rule about initiating contact with the helmet. And it's very, very difficult to coach that, I believe. It's very difficult to play with that style, particularly for linemen, and it's going to be hard to officiate. So I believe that will be the leading thing on the field that we see the league struggling with. I applaud the owners for making that decision. I believe I do, because I think it was well intended, and it fits with the theory of trying to reduce head contact. Hitting your head doesn't help anybody. We know that now. Not every case does it result in any kind of brain injury. I think the vast majority of the time it doesn't. But there have been other forces that have led to pressures to make these changes. So, you know, the new rule for the NFL says if a player gets horizontal when he makes the tackle, when he intently hits helmet to helmet, when he has an alternative way to strike the opponent without using his helmet, these are the things that the officials apparently are going to be looking for. So we'll follow with great interest in seeing how that plays out. At the NCAA level, probably the biggest change, and I was talking to Coach Laird about that a while ago, is of course the ability now to call a fair catch if a kickoff is within the 25-yard line. You know, I think in 2012 or 13, the touchback moved to the 25-yard line. So you can be rewarded if you catch a ball in the air with the ball through a touchback on the 25-yard line to start your possession. So that again is an example of trying to eliminate the high velocity hits, which are the most dangerous for any sport, particularly football. I'm the head of Pop Warner Football's medical advisory team, and Pop Warner is the oldest and largest youth football league in the country, founded in 1929. We have over 25,000 coaches, over 4,000 games every weekend. And it's an organization that has tried to make changes as well. So in 2012, we eliminated all head contact drills in practice except for line play. We eliminated the kickoffs for the younger players last year. We eliminated all head contact in practice as much as we can. There are no contact drills to the head. And there's no contact at all except for 25% of the practice time. So 3/4 of the time, the practice drills at football practice for youth football are non-contact. So you can see we've done a lot, and despite that, there's still attacks and calls for banning youth football for players who are 12 and under. 4 states last year passed or tried to pass legislation that didn't succeed, but they introduced legislation laws to eliminate contact football for 12 and under. So we'll see what happens to this coming year as different legislations may take that up. So you can see part of this is social, part of it is in the legal system, part of it is insurance coverage for some high school districts and youth leagues. Part of it is how the doctors react and want to get involved from a social point of view. Many things are important in life, and I don't think there's been anything for me personally, and for probably most people who have the opportunity and the privilege of playing in sports and participating. And so I think all of us who are involved, whether you're a doctor like me or all the way down to coaches and athletes and athletic trainers and administrators, we have to try to figure this out and see how we can make all sports as safe as they can. I always say that there are really no deaths in football to speak of, yet every day in the United States there are 10 people who drown on average, but we don't hear for a call to ban swimming. So everything in life is relative. If kids aren't at football games or practice, what are they going to be doing? About 100 youth are killed every year on bicycles. So everything has a relative and benefit, and you have to understand the risk-benefit ratio. All these things, as you go out, you're representatives of Northwestern State University, and you may get these questions now or in the future. And it's important, I think, to realize this is a part society and part legal issue that we're in the midst of this reform. Those are the main things that I think we're seeing on the horizon. The importance of recognizing concussion symptoms. It's an injury that you can't see. There's no bleeding or no swelling. It's ordinarily subjective symptoms like headache or feeling in a fog or dizzy or vision not quite right or sleep disturbance. All these things are important that you recognize in your players, and if you're a player that you report if you have it or you think your teammates have it. So the recognition, the education, the understanding that they ordinarily will heal without long-term consequences are important as we continue to evolve in our knowledge of neurological sports medicine. For 10 years, I was a team physician for the Steelers, and the Steelers were one of the first teams to have not only an orthopedic surgeon, but a neurological doctor like me on the sideline. At that time, it was mainly knee injuries and shoulder injuries and ankle injuries, but now the issue of the potential for brain injury has reached a really important state. So all of you need to be aware of it and be on the cutting edge and help us figure out a way to make all these sports safer the best we can and be around for all to enjoy. Do you want me to take any Q&A? That's sort of what I wanted to say and emphasize, Doug.
A couple quick questions. Best advice you can give to these student athletes and to parents of athletes who might be watching on best action, best safe course for safety in sport.
Well, the concerning concussion, yeah. Well, it's pretty much as I tried to emphasize, and that is you've got to be smart. You've got to recognize that concussion symptoms may not even be apparent initially. They sometimes are later that day or the next day even. I'll be on the sidelines for the other Northwestern this year in the Big Ten, and so we'll see players during the game, after the game, and the next morning. Sometimes they show up later. I mentioned the symptoms, and you have to take them seriously. It's better to sit out a week or two and come back to play the rest of that season than to risk having ongoing problems that don't recover, and/or problems with classwork. I believe that all sports are safe, and I think football is safer than it's ever been, but it's important to continue to strive to take unnecessary, gratuitous head contact out.
Okay, my last question will be, Alec Baldwin played you in the movie Concussion. Alec Baldwin is now noted as the premier imitator of President Trump. Do you have a Trump imitation?
I don't. That's a hard one to answer there. He also has 3 little kids, doesn't he? Yeah. So he did a good job. He was, to me, very respectful and put a lot of effort into it and wanted to contribute something. So he and I actually made a commercial together recently where it talks about the benefits of youth sports because we wanted to get that out. So it's you probably find it easily on YouTube, but it's aired in a lot of cities across the country as a public service announcement.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I couldn't dunk in the 8th grade like Jack Britton could, though. Thank you, guys.
A lot of things that he does now, we're glad you know. It's a real honor to have Dr. Bales with us today and this week as his family vacations here back home. Now we're going to transition to our Northwestern sports, and we start with a sport that has a very low concussion risk. But you do have a lot of injuries because it's a very grueling sport to compete in, and that's cross country. Chris Sauer has been here in our program now. The climb in the success rate and the achievement and accomplishment level of cross country and distance events at Northwestern since he's been here is remarkable. So to tell us about the cross country team, Chris Sauer.
So for the past couple of years, and particularly this past year, I've been really impressed with how all the teams have really come together. I've seen a lot of the program shift the mentality a whole lot from, being a team that's trying to basically turn things around. The football team, the whole emotion, what we've seen just around here has been a whole lot better, where people seem way more excited about the season coming up. Things have been changing, and it's really evident from what we've seen. With my group, we didn't have a ton of success in the previous years before I got here, and it's still turning around a lot. And for me, the goal that I always gave my athletes was that I wanted them to, when people looked back on the team, I wanted them to look at it and say, this is the team that started to change everything. Because realistically, we couldn't change everything over in 1 year. Cross country is a long race. It takes a lot of development, it takes a lot of time. But over the past year, they ended up dropping on the women's side 2 minutes on average per person. The men dropped 3 minutes on average per person. And this year, ever since we started recruiting, I've been excited with what we have for this year. For every person that we have graduating this past year, we're bringing in someone who is at least as fast or faster than they were before. So personally, I think even though this is going to be a very young group with only one senior on each gender and everyone else being freshmen and sophomores, I think it's going to be another chance where they can keep doing what so many programs at this school are doing and be the ones that are really changing things and be the ones that people can look back on and say, that's the program that really made this what it was supposed to be. So that's what we're hoping for.
No home meets for you, but you do have a huge home meet at the end of the year about the LHSAA championship.
Yeah, so I think last year we had 2,300 high school athletes coming in here, which is a pretty big deal for this town. I think with spectators, it was probably close to 8,000 to 10,000 people in total over those 2 days, and that's something that our team's always been heavily involved in, and trying to make sure that it's an event that's not just for the cross-country athletes, but for the town and the school as a whole, to really showcase the university and hopefully get some kids here.
Thanks, Chris. Now we turn our attention to volleyball, a very upbeat forecast because we had a very exciting 2017 season. Our volleyball sports information contact is Jason Pugh. And Jason, if you can give us a capsule of facts we need to know before we hear from Sean and his girls.
Well, you talked about Alec Baldwin playing Jillian Bales. We know who would play Sean Kirikoff. We get Scott Van Pelt up here. And I'd like to go ahead and retire that joke. I think 3 years is probably long enough. No, you want to keep it going? Okay, well, we'll do as you say. In the past 3 years, as we mentioned, Sean Kirikoff and the volleyball team have more than doubled their win total. Last year, 10 conference wins for the first time since 2014. Greg Burke alluding to 11, 18, 18. These ladies, we have 3 seniors here along with Coach Kirikoff. They will explain the meaning of that at some point. We'll probably have Channing do it. That's her favorite thing to do. But again, a great, as Chris Sauer mentioned, everybody growing, improving. 2 first-team all-conference players here, 2 individual award winners last season, a coach who would arguably have qualified for Coach of the Year, and he's here now, Sean Kirikoff. This season will end here in Prather Coliseum and hopefully a little farther, but November 16th through the 18th, a chance to make a little more history here to tell you about what he hopes will happen throughout the year on the road to Prather, Sean Kirchhoff.
Thank you. So every year, sit there and cross country goes before us, usually soccer goes before us, and I think those are really well thought out remarks, and I feel like I really have nothing of value to say. Again, Chris, very good job. You're good at this. So nothing has really changed, so excuse me as I fumble through this. But this time last year, we were really talking about this being a 2-year process. We knew at that time that we are going to be returning all of our starters. We hadn't been awarded the bid yet, but we knew that we were putting the bid forward to host the conference tournament. And then we were fortunate enough to be able to win that. So then we knew throughout the season that we were going to be able to host after this season. So even though it was a 2-year process, we definitely had some goals and things that we wanted to accomplish, and we felt we got pretty much everything except for one thing. And I talked about that at the beginning of practice today. We lost in the first round, and we wanted to, get into that second day or third day to get that experience to get us ready for this season. So that's one thing that we were disappointed about, and it was something that I stressed at the very beginning of today because I don't want them to forget that. That frustration and that feeling of being disappointed in something that you expected to happen. And hopefully that kind of pushes us through tough situations and going into every practice knowing that we have something to work for so that we can get to where we want to at the end of the year. We've got a great group, and if you read Jason's piece yesterday, it has a different feeling at the start of this year. There's a different purpose there. Instead of just wanting to improve and to get better in certain areas, there's a purpose to be able to finish high as possible in the regular season and to make that push during the conference tournament. And I think that we're prepared to do that. This group right here is definitely prepared to do that. And we're going to get things done this year. So we're excited about where we are, and we're going to continue to talk about some things. Right up first, we have senior middle blocker Madeline Drake. Or actually, we have some questions first.
Came in late in the recruiting cycle. These young players were already recruited here, signed here. It's not the easiest thing always to maybe play for a coach who didn't recruit you. What is the importance of them buying in and growing along with them in this program?
It's been huge. They've made it easy on me. Like Jason said, they could come in and say, this is not what I signed up for. But from day one, I never got that feeling. They immediately bought in, so if that is not true, you did a great job of selling it, in practices and things. But, they were ready to learn. They were ready to figure out the way that we were going to play here for the next few years. And they've done a fantastic job of implementing everything that I've tried to do. Certain things that I do that's a little bit different than everybody, just like any coach. And then anytime I experiment with crazy stuff just to see if it works, they've been right on board to be able to try it. And then we figure it out if that's going to be something that we continue with. So, this group, the senior group, and then these three specifically have been fantastic, and they've made my job easy. Okay, so we do have senior middle blocker Madeline Drake.
Hi, so like you said, I'm Madeline Drake. I'm an incoming senior, and we're all really excited for this season. We have a lot to look forward to, but we only lost one player last year, so we're returning 14 of our 15 players. We gained one JUCO transfer in the spring, so she's been with us, and then we have 3 incoming freshmen, so bringing them into the program. But we have a lot of depth in this team this year. And we actually were returning a freshman of the year, Southland Conference freshman of the year, Hannah Brister, and libero of the year with Channing Burleson, and then first team all conference outside here with Reagan Rogers. So I'm really excited for what this team is going to do. I know we all have a lot of high hopes, but it's going to be an exciting year, and we'll love y'all's support at our games.
Madeline, when you look at 5 seniors on this team, 4 of you came in together, it's been a lot of growth. What's been the most rewarding part of this journey you guys have into what you hope is going to be great?
Well, I think the most rewarding part will be this year, hopefully. All of our hard work will pay off. Each year we've seen an improvement in our seasons and our ability to compete as a team. So I think each year as it's gotten better, I think this year will be the best year yet. Next, we have Reagan Rogers, also an incoming senior, first team all-conference outside hitter.
Hi, I'm Reagan. One thing Malin said, we're really excited about this season, but what we're most excited for is our preseason. We have 4 big tournaments. Our first one is we go up to Texas Tech. So we're really excited about these tournaments. You know, they really push us and compete at a higher level. And when we do fail, it really helps us as a team figure out what went wrong. That way we don't have that happen during conference. But this conference season, we're just really excited and would love all y'all's support.
Bringing a lot of depth, as Madeline talked about, and it's a lot of veteran leadership. How do you feel, as a senior class, kind of speak for the whole group, if you would, about handling the raised expectations? You guys have been here from a 7-win season to what you expect to be a much greater season.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of pressure not on ourselves, but just as a team. We all want this as bad, and I know the freshmen, they're really buying into the program. They want this as bad for the seniors as they want it for themselves. But we're just really hoping to stick together and come out with the championship. So. All right, next is senior libero Channing Burleson.
Hello. Okay. Like they said, I mean, we have a big year, I think, ahead of us, and we're all excited. Coach had mentioned that we're hosting the Southland Conference tournament here this year, so I think that's something we've all been looking forward to since we found out about it last year. Yeah, we didn't do as well in the last tournament as we had hoped, but I think, you know, we've put in a lot of work this past spring, and we've really been committed as a team, together as a whole, and so I think it'll all pay off, and we're really looking forward to that. So.
2 seasons ago, you changed positions. Maybe not the easiest thing in the world to put together 2 of the best seasons at your position by anyone in school history. Conference Libero of the Year, All Louisiana selection. What made it easy to make that change? Again, we talked about Coach Kirchhoff wasn't the person who recruited you. 2 years ago, you went through a different kind of journey. How does that help you going forward?
Well, I mean, I've always liked defense, so that was easy for me, I guess. But my team and my coach, I mean, they all made it, you know, as easy of a transition as it could have been. And so, I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to them. And then going forward, I mean, like I said, I think this, and Madeline said, this will be one of our biggest seasons since we've been here. So I think it'll be easy for us. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Now we turn our attention to soccer, a program that has had some very high moments in its relatively short history, and we expect many more high moments under our new co-head coaches, Anna and Jess Job. And to talk about that sport, the sports information director handles soccer, Matt Vines, and he will introduce the Jobs and the soccer participants. Matt?
Thank you, Doug. Really appreciate that. These ladies reported July 31st, and they're always the first collegiate sport that gets underway. They have an exhibition Saturday in Little Rock. They've been in their second week of preseason camp, feverishly preparing. Our 2 players, Olivia and April, were part of a 2016 team that made the Southland Conference tournament, and somewhere, obviously, where they want to be back again in 2018. So to explain to you what's been going on the past 2 weeks, and to tell you how they hope Saturday and the home opener August 17th against UTSA goes, it's my pleasure to introduce co-head coaches Jess and Anna Joe.
Thanks, Matt. You know, Jess will talk more about X's and O's and all of that. You know, first of all, before we start, I wanted to thank Stefan and Alexis, our GAs. They have worked endless hours doing all the dirty work. I mean, you name it, they've done it. You know, the running at about 9:30 to go get extra ice because the ice baths aren't cold enough to our liking. They'll take it off and go drive off and get us more ice. And they do laundry, they mow the field, they stripe it. They're with us in coaches meetings. I mean, they have put in endless hours in order to make what we do possible. We couldn't do it without you, so we really appreciate you. So I wanted to say that before I get into what I have. Thank you guys for all your hard work. you know, there's a lot of personnel and all the X's and O's and the things that go on in between the lines that we think are really important, and we're here to accomplish quite a bit. We have high hopes for this first season. These girls have high expectations for themselves, but I want to talk about what happens outside the lines, because we also spend a ton of time talking and educating and stressing the details. You know, we talk a lot about building trust, what that looks like player to coach, what that looks like player to player, healthy conflict resolution. We talk a lot about commitment, that it's not just the 2 hours or the 3 hours that you train every day. It's what you do in the 22 hours outside with your hydration, your nutrition, your sleep, your ability to interact with each other, recovery, all of those things that enable you to have these, you know, championship defining seasons and all of that stuff. It's what gets you there. It's the process. So we've been talking a lot about that this preseason. The girls are buying in. They're doing really well. They came ready. They came fit. They came ready. Obviously, there's a process to getting 90-minute game fit, and they're on their way. They're well on their way. So I've been really proud of them for having conversations outside of our classroom sessions, coming in prepared to pay attention. They're taking notes. They're you know, talking in their dorm rooms. They're getting things done off the field, and then they come ready to train. And obviously, that's why we're here, is to get those wins and losses and all of that. But it's the process that they've bought into, that we're really proud of them for their commitment. We've got 13 newcomers, 13 returners. You know, the returners have carried our mentality over from the spring and brought it right into day one of preseason. So that's been great to see. I'm excited. I'm excited to get rolling with the games. We've had a great preseason so far, and I'm excited for where we're headed. So I'll give it over to Jess to talk about more X's and O's.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be the first person to use the word excited to describe how we're feeling right now, but I was sitting over there trying to think of synonyms or another way to say it, but why try and say it any differently? We're excited. We're pumped. I think, just to reiterate what Chris said when speaking about cross country, we feel the same thing. There is a lot of excitement, not just around our program, but around Northwestern State athletics. And we're grateful for the support that we have, how hard our admins work behind the scenes as well. And we're excited to see what these other programs do. And there is a buzz around campus, and we're just honored to be a part of it. And I think our student athletes appreciate that as well. They're motivated. They've come in. They've showed that. We've got a short period of time to handle a lot of business. Okay? And like Anna mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going off the field. That's where it starts for us. But we can't ignore the work that we have to do between the lines or on the field. We're sorting through tactical decisions, formation, system of play. We're trying to, or in the process of defining what type of team we are going to be. What's going to make us a hard team to beat or a hard team to stop. And we've got a group of players who are working their tails off, and we've made it clear to them that we think that's the primary ingredient. That is the number one ingredient for our success this year. No one expects much. No one thinks much of us based on where we've been. And so we've got a new outlook. And it starts with work. It starts with hard work. We want to be a team that's going to outwork our opponents, outwork one another at practice. That's something we talk about on a daily basis, is giving each other permission to go at one another and get after one another. So Matt mentioned our first exhibition, our first run out being at University of Arkansas Little Rock, coming up this weekend on Saturday. From a coaching staff perspective, we're excited to see the team play for the first time in competition against opponents. And I think our players are excited, if not relieved, to have somebody else to kick around a little bit and get after someone else, get after another opponent. But we feel like that's absolutely necessary. Every day in practice, we have to go after one another. We have to put in tackles. We have to get stuck into our physical challenges. That's the only way we prepare for the challenges ahead and for real live opponents. So we're excited to see how some of that's going to translate this weekend in Arkansas. And we talk about competition, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to define competition in different ways. Anna talked a lot about commitment off the field. We're trying to define commitment exactly. what that looks like. Our returners are a huge part of that. Our senior class has done a tremendous job, I think, getting our new players acclimated, getting them in, and we've got a lot of new personnel. That goes without saying. New coaching staff. Exactly 50% of our team is brand new to Northwestern State. They're freshmen. So we've got a lot of catching up to do, so to speak. The spring was tremendously important for us to lay a foundation with our returners as far as the expectations and how we're going to define those things. And they've been a huge part of getting everyone on the same page. UALR is going to be an opportunity, I think, for some players to continue to prove themselves. We still got some pieces that are falling in, and we've still got some question marks as far as where some players are going to play, who some of those players are going to be. The competition is still very much alive, so we're excited to see some of that play out firsthand. And we're going to look at a lot of different things this weekend, try a couple of different formations, systems of play, and see how we do. So we're excited going into the weekend. After that, we have 6 days before our regular season home opener, August 17th versus University of Texas San Antonio right here in Natchitoches at 7 o'clock Friday night under the lights. So obviously we're excited about that, but we're more focused at practice today at 3 o'clock, practice tomorrow, run through on Friday, a real live opponent in Little Rock on Saturday, and one step at a time we're going to get this thing done and not move any faster than that. But excited is just about as good a word as I can come up with it. We're ready to go. I think the players are chomping at the bits, and we're ready to see how we look against live opponents.
Jess, you got to work with a group of returners in the spring in your first season as head coach. Now you throw 13 new faces in this summer and this fall. What has it been like to kind of juggle both the returners and the newcomers in camp?
Yeah, couldn't give more credit to our returners. They play a huge part in that. Mentioning how important the spring was for us, I think if we didn't have that time to work with this group of returners, we'd have that much more to cover. But we've had a lot of classroom sessions. We've put a lot on them, and they've done a tremendous job of staying focused. We're putting a lot of information in front of them, I think, and taking in that information and trying to apply it. And I think just having the split is a good thing for us. We have a lot of players who this is their first experience. They don't have experience previous, so we're their first coaching staff that they're getting to know. And then a group of returners who have seen where things have been, how things have been, and having a good and unified vision of where we want to go and what that looks like and how we're going to get there, and how we define those things as a coaching staff, as a new coaching staff, and bringing it all together. So we're working hard every day, and we'll keep it going today at 3 o'clock.
Bring up April Trowbridge now,
Senior forward, midfielder.
April, you've been kind of at the center of this offense in your first 2 seasons here. As a distributor, as a scorer, you've gotten a chance to work with these returners in the spring, and then you add a bunch of newcomers just a couple weeks ago. Where do you feel like the offense is at right now?
It's pretty exciting. I know Brittany Caserva and I have played together for the past 2 years, so we've definitely developed some chemistry there. And then we have Jalen coming in. She's also from Canada. It's going to be a key piece, I think, in our attack, and just having the 3 of us kind of build and gel and mesh together is going to be really interesting. I'm really excited for Saturday.
You spent a spring with Jess and Anna. Now, obviously, that you're moving on toward the season. What has it been like to transition to them and to play for a husband and wife duo?
It's been really interesting, actually. Basically, what Anna's huge focus is almost character and like mentality of the team, and we kind of focused on all of that this spring. That way, when it came to this fall, we already had the fundamentals down. And trying to incorporate 13 new players has been a little challenging, but I think we'll get there. And so far, so good.
Anna mentioned ice baths. Jess got to take a pretty interesting ice bath on Saturday. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So personally, I hate them. Like, it's my least favorite. I don't want to go in there. I hate when people are moving. Like, I get really, really upset. But it was pretty funny. We had, I think, all 4 of our coaching staff jump in at one point. So, fun times.
Bring up senior defender Olivia Morazzo.
I'm not Olivia Morasso, but just so Olivia, through the mic, gets a proper introduction, a senior defender from Nevada. She's going to be a big part of our back line this year as a center back. Olivia.
Olivia, you've played some big minutes in your career, but this is going to be the first time where you're going to be a starter and be on that field all the time. What has that transition been like for you this offseason?
I think the word I can choose is focused. I mean, throughout my career here, I've played everything from outside forward to outside back. So being able to focus on my role as a central back and being able to like settle in and figure out how to play with the girls around me and direct from the back, it's a lot more focused in that aspect.
A lot of new faces on the defense, but still some ladies back there that have played college soccer and are familiar with what this league has to offer. How do you feel like the defense is progressing at this point?
I see more and more exciting moments with the defense every time we play together. We're going to have some young girls back there and some newcomers, but every time we play together, you can see that we're developing that chemistry and learning how to play off each other and learning how to cover for each other. So between the returners we have back there, in the back line, and with the keepers, I'm confident with the girls we can put out there, and I'm excited to see what we can do on Saturday.
Olivia, thank you very much.
Well, if you hadn't noticed, it's also football season, and we're kind of excited about all of our fall sports teams. Certainly a widespread support about Demon football as we head into a season that starts August 30th at Texas A&M, and then starts at home here Saturday, September 8th against Grambling, 6 o'clock in Turpin Stadium. It'll be a lot of fun to kick off a team that has momentum, and not only from the bringing in a new coaching staff, but from the way last year finished, 3 wins in the last 4 games, much improvement along the way. And to tell us about it, our new head coach, our record-setting quarterback, Brad Laird.
Thank you, Doug. Just to, kind of go back, first, the one thing that I've heard volleyball, cross country, and soccer talk about is excitement and enthusiasm. And one person I want to mention in here, because I've heard several people talk about the spring sports, and that's kind of what kick-started where we are right now with the enthusiasm. But one was track and field, and the other was baseball. And with us today, I want to make sure, let's give a big round of applause to Mike Heimerman, head coach, track and field. When you have media day, it is an exciting time of the year because of what's fixing to kickstart. But I want to rewind. We're going to have several people talk to you. Just kind of where we started and where we are. The one thing that I look at is you go back to, I don't know, January 15th, something like that. We had the opportunity to have our first team meeting, or attempt to have our first team meeting. It took us 5 times to have a team meeting. What were the issues? The issues were having everybody there on time. And that is important in the process of winning. To have everybody where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be, because it's no different. I've talked about the 3 sports that had the opportunity to come up here and talk. In each of those sports, once you get between the white lines or the court or wherever you are, you have an obligation of what you're supposed to do. And if you do it correct, you have the opportunity to win. And if you don't, there's consequences for it. So it took us 5 times to have a team meeting, and that last team meeting being at 5 a.m., because we already had something scheduled for 5:30. So we got it right. I fast forward to July 1. July 1, we had 96 guys here this summer at a team meeting. And that is the sacrifice of the student athletes. And that's a testament as we look at each of these student athletes. You're going to have some that's going to talk to you today. The sacrifice that they made, and I'm looking at other student athletes in other sports that have made those sacrifices to be here during the summer, okay, when it's not easy, when it is tough. Because on Thursday night, August 30th, against Texas A&M at Kyle Field, at some point adversity is going to hit. At some point it gets tough, okay? No matter what sport you play, we're talking football now, so at August 30th, it's going to get tough. So hopefully we've had the opportunity to put them in adverse situations, to put them in tough situations before they happen during a football game. But I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because you're going to have the opportunity to hear from them. But the process, the progress that they've made from that first team meeting to where July 1st was, to now has been night and day. We finished 7 practices this morning. Are we where we need to be? No, but we're 7 ahead of where we were when we started. And it's a process that we're going through, and I'm going to have coordinators talk about it. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about for these young men that we have the opportunity as coaches to talk to each and every day is win in everything you do. You know, first and foremost was to be on time, for everybody to be on time, okay? We had a nutritionist come in and talk about how to eat, the hydration part of it. All of that is not just between the white lines, but also when you go to class, to be able to focus, to be able to do the right thing in everything you do. So therefore, when we go between the white lines, we don't have to decide to flip the switch, the light switch, as we say, because you're inconsistent when you do that. And the thing that we want to be is consistent in everything that we do. If we're consistent off the field, we're going to be consistent on the field, because that's all we know. It's no different than waking up when you're supposed to wake up, be somewhere where you're supposed to be. And if I'm an offensive lineman that has to take the right step, there's no difference, because it's a mindset. It's a mindset to win in everything that we do. And as student athletes, that's what we're going to do. And as coaches, that's what we're going to push to do. And I'm really proud of them, and I'm proud of our guys through 7 practices and where we are. Before I introduce the coordinators and let them talk offensively and defensively, I know we got one coach that's here that I want to introduce, Coach Jay Pond, our offensive line coach. Let's give Coach Pond a round of applause. As we move forward, 5 home games, starting with September 8th that Doug mentioned here. We got 4 of the 5 home games are top 25 teams. Northwestern State, according to the rankings and according to the Southland Conference coaches and SIDs, are not one of those. But like we talked about as a football team, those are preseason expectations. Those are expectations that others have, not the expectations that Northwestern State and these players and coaches have. We want to be the best that we can be, and that's what we're going to be. What is that? Well, we're still in the process of figuring that out. We've only had 7 days of practice. We've got 22 more before we have the opportunity to line up and play. The expectations are things that other people have the opportunity to vote on. It's like I told the players, focus on the things that we can control, because nobody can control preseason expectations except what we can control now. And that's what we're going to do. Focus on the things that we can control now each and every day to make us the best that we can be. To talk offensively, the first thing I was able to do as head coach was hire staff. And I tell you, I hit a home run with the coordinators. The one thing that I wanted in coordinators, and luckily I was able to have with both of them, they were both head coaches. As a first-year head coach, you want somebody to your right and your left as you sit in a staff meeting that's set in the same seat that you have, because you can lean on them, you can talk to them, you can ask questions, and that's what I've been able to do. First, on the offensive side of the ball, had the opportunity in 1996 to share an office here at Northwestern State as a graduate assistant. He went on to Tulane, coached at Tulane for 7 years. The last 11 years has been at Trinity Valley Junior College. The last 11 as a head coach, winning multiple championships. And so very glad to bring him back and his passion for Northwestern State University. Your offensive coordinator, Brad Smiley.
Coach. Appreciate it, Coach. I tell you, it's that time of year. I get fired up. I get excited, like Coach Job and Job over there. It's almost like Christmas when you're coming into camp. It's like Christmas morning. You're getting ready to open the gifts. You sign these guys. You've watched them work, but you're looking forward to see what they really bring to the table and really what they're made of. It's that time of year. You have trouble sleeping because your excitement. Well, at least I thought, but after hearing Dr. Bell speak, apparently I might have a concussion. So I might need to get checked out, because I do have trouble sleeping, because I just toss and turn and think about football all night and think about what can we do with these young men. And it's hard not to be fired up, because honestly, each day I get to come to work and I get a chance to be around a coaching staff that's the offensive guys in our room, tremendous teachers. They know the game inside and out. But I tell you what, the buy-in from our players and what they bring to the table, how fired up they are, how excited they are, how committed they are to what we're trying to get accomplished. Looking how engaged in meeting rooms and on the practice fields, walkthroughs. It's hard not to get fired up about those types of things. because I know how bad that they want it. And we do too. And I'm, you know, I'm a firm believer in what we do and how we do it. And I know it works. And I feel like we're going to be successful. Each and every position on our offensive side of the ball has got some, there's some special kids on this offense. There's some special playmakers, but special kids by the way they go about their business, by the way they handle everything that we've asked them to do in each and every room. And, you know, it's day 7 this morning. We put the whole offense in 5 days. So we throw a ton of stuff on them. And then it pairs itself out and pairs itself out and pairs itself out as it goes along. So, you know, we make mistakes. We learn from them. We move on. And then that's how it's done. And that's how our learning process is on our side of the ball. So I'm just excited to be a part of something special. And that's what I told Brad last November. I said, Coach, I want to be a part of it. I think it's going to be special. I think it's going to be, there's no question in my mind where Northwestern State football should be. We've been a part of it. You know, we've won championships here, and to have an opportunity to come back and be a part of the change of the culture and everything within this program and watch it go down is something I'll have the opportunity to talk about the rest of my life and think about the rest of my life and teach others as we move on from here. So I appreciate all the hospitality everybody's given me and my family since we've been here. But, man, I'm looking forward to a great year, looking forward to a great run and a great successful several years as we move forward and be a dominant program within this conference each and every year. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Second, in the process of hiring coordinators, had the opportunity, one that y'all are probably some are familiar with back from 2014, but one that's been very common in this conference. 15 years as defense coordinator at Sam Houston State University, and then going to Southeastern Louisiana for 6 seasons as head coach, winning conference titles, winning Coach of the Year. You know, so the one thing when I've talked about the 2 coordinators, the one word you heard come out of my mouth, I don't know if you recognize that, was championships. And when you bring championship caliber people on your staff, that is infectious. And that's what it's done to not only these coaches, but also these players, and really do appreciate that. Defense coordinator, glad he's here, Coach Mike Lucas.
Very grateful to be part of the Demon football staff. Very grateful that Brad Laird made a phone call and invited me to come back. Enjoyed the time I was here with Jay Thomas. We had a great year in 2014. Had some big wins, played some good defense. And looking forward to continue that. Grateful for the opportunity to join Brad and the vision that he has for Demon football. He bleeds purple. It runs through his veins. And what he's trying to get done here just follows the vision of the president of our university, Dr. Maggio. What he's done here, with the enrollment rising every year, and the beautification of the campus, everything he's done, I think everyone is following along with his vision and the enthusiasm that comes from the top. Defensively, very, very excited about my staff. You talk about bleeding purple. We got Coach Lockett and Coach Love. Coach Lockett coaching the corners, Coach Love coaching the defensive line. Both of them played here. Both of them spilled blood out on that football field. And they love this place. And they're coaching their young men hard because they want this place to be successful. And Coach Olson, who's coaching my safeties, our safeties, does a great job. Hard-working young man. We've got a very fine defensive football staff. I enjoy going in there every day and working with them and throwing things on the board and working with those guys because of their attitude and their hunger to coach our young men. Got a good group of young men, hard workers. What Coach Laird talked about, those guys being here in the summer and sleeping on couches and sleeping on floors and sleeping bags and sharing meals and because they want to be here. They want to get better. They're hungry to get better. And that's what we're looking for. Defensively, we've got a ways to go. You know, the young men are working hard. You know, our goal is to be the best defense in the Southland Conference. I've been there, done that, got that T-shirt. And we're not going to settle for anything less. And I'm driving the young men. We're pushing them hard. But, you know, we coach these guys with our arm around them. We love them to death, but yet we're pushing them to be as good as they can be and maybe beyond what they think they can be. We have got to create takeaways. The number one statistic in football that dictates wins and losses is takeaways. And we strive on it every day. We grade takeaways. How many strip attempts we get. How many times we get the ball on the ground. How many times we scoop the football. How many interceptions we get. And teach the young men to celebrate that. And that becomes infectious. And we got to get tackles for losses. In football today, you got to put people behind the sticks. So we're going to be aggressive up front. We're going to come after people, try to put them in second and long and third and long. You'll see us play a lot of man-to-man coverage. But I really believe in what we're doing. I believe in our young men. We're focusing in on finding that top 11, but it's not only your top 11. The old coach is saying you're only as good as your second team. We got to find that next 22, that next 11 to make the top 22 players. And that's what we're focusing on right now. Working hard in the heat, sweating a lot, wearing a lot of sunblock, but excited for what we're doing and get after the old Aggies on August 30th. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Coach. At this time, student athletes, would y'all come up, please? One, with the coordinators, there's no lack of enthusiasm, that's for sure. And you know what? If you're not having fun, it's pretty tough. One thing we're going to do, we're going to have fun. There's no doubt. These young men, there's 9 of them. The thing about these, we have a champion team. These are our champion leaders. These are 9 guys that were voted on by their coaches. When you get voted on by your coaches, there was not a set number that we wanted. We wanted to make sure we had the guys that exemplified the direction and the vision that us as coaches, and that's the guys that we have up here that win both on and off the field. As we went through it as coaches, we had guys that maybe football-wise were here, or classroom they were here, but to find those student athletes that exemplify the vision that we have as a coaching staff, and that's these young men that are here to my right. I'm going to let them speak real briefly. At first, he's a linebacker, converted buck, a selfish football player. That was a buck, got moved to linebacker back in the spring, and has done a great job. Bryce Borgeson.
Thank you, Coach. All right. We're excited. Like Coach Smiley says, at time of the year, we've been looking forward to this and working for this ever since that first meeting in January, and now it's finally here, and it's time to put it all to work.
Bryce, let me ask you, the emphasis on turnovers, I know Coach Lair was here last year. How much has what he taught last year carried over to your defense this year?
Turnovers are huge, and we're working for it every day. We have a sheet or a chart that we look at every night in the meeting room, and we have strip attempts, and they preach that every day. We're supposed to, every time we go to make a tackle, we're working on getting the ball out, trying to get those turnovers, trying to get the pass breakups, trying to get the interceptions.
Okay, if you had to describe this defense in just a handful of words, what would you say?
We're trying to get the purpose to warm back. We're trying to get to the ball, trying to be aggressive, and trying to get after people.
Thank you, Bryce. The next, and these are upperclassmen, junior, seniors. The next senior that really has come a long way, not just on the field, but also off the field and developing into a leadership. Wide receiver, Bryson Bort.
Just hitting on the offense. This is going to be my 5th year, and this is probably the most excited I've ever been to play in the system. He always preaches, Coach Smiley always preaches, you never know when your number's going to get called, but that's why you prepare, as if it's going to be your number getting called every single day. The receiver room, I played with a group my freshman year that put 2 guys in the NFL and 1 guy in the CFL. And I think I'm more excited about this group of receivers that we have. We can go and put our guys that are 3s on the depth chart on the field, and they can go out there and make plays just as good as anybody else in the Southern Conference. So, just really looking forward to this season.
Bryson, you've had a pretty unique journey, coming as a walk-on, going through a series of injuries. Then with the Lady Bowl offensive MVP in the spring, had a huge game. Talk about for just a moment that journey and specifically having that big day and what it means to you personally, confidence-wise.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Me coming on as a walk-on really just humbled me and made me work harder and appreciate every opportunity that I do get out there on the field and time that I get to spend with my teammates.
And then that day with the Lady Bowl, when you started having such a big day, and how meaningful was that to you?
It was just great to see that all the hard work's finally paid off, and hopefully, that wasn't my last time having success, But I mean, it meant a lot.
Thank you, Bryson. All right, next, a junior offensive lineman will have the opportunity to graduate and be able to and play his senior year in graduate school. And that's a testament to what he's done and what direction he's going. Plays not only center, but also tackle, bounces back and forth during practice. Offensive lineman, Dustin Burns.
Thank you, Coach Blair. The word of the day is obviously it's excitement, and we're all excited here at Northwestern. I'm going to talk a little bit about offensive line play and how our guys are just striving to be the best offensive line we can be. It's a puzzle. Offensive line is a puzzle, and we're working to find the best pieces to put together to have that cohesiveness of a group. And Coach Pond always talks about mental acuity, mental toughness, and we're working real hard to get to where we need to be.
Dustin, Coach Bond has talked about having a dominant running game and absolutely one of the most physical offensive line in the conference. As you look around the guys in the room, what improvement have you seen from day one until this point?
I have seen so much improvement in the guys that are in that room with me, even from just January. January, going through some workouts with Coach Myatt, he's been changing the culture around us. We want to be the best we can be now. And just being able to take someone and physically move them 4 or 5 yards back, it's an amazing feeling.
I talked to Frank Boudreaux yesterday. He said now to be an offensive lineman in this system can't be the fat, sloppy offensive.
Oh, absolutely not. We're the athletic ones.
So, were you ever the fat, sloppy offensive lineman?
I don't think so. Me personally, I've been there before. I've been bigger, and I'm feeling pretty good at what I'm playing at right now. So, thank you.
Good answer, Burnsy. All right, next, young man that started all 11 games as a sophomore last year in the defensive backfield has really developed into the leader of where he is now. Safety, Nick Ford.
How y'all doing? I'm a redshirt junior, so I'm going into my 4th year here at Northwestern State. And the biggest thing to me, I've just never seen it like this before. We got the new coaching staff, and they're going to push everybody we have. And with the guys we got, they're not afraid to work. They love it. We love getting pushed. Love getting pushed by Coach Myatt out there, till I throw up. It happens quite often. We love getting pushed by Coach Lucas, Coach Smiley, Coach Larry. They expect the best from us, and we expect the best from ourselves. So we wouldn't want anything less.
Since you've been here, there's been a constant. His name is Devon Lockett. Talk about Coach Lockett and what he means to you guys out there.
Coach Lockett is huge. He's been here. He was one of the guys that recruited me in, and he makes it feel like a family. He wants what's best for you. He's gonna do whatever it takes, to get you playing at your best. And when you got guys that want your best, you want to do your best for them. You want to make sure that you make him, seem like the best coach he can be, because he's a great coach and he's always looking out for us.
What's it like for the defensive backs working against this offense in practice?
It's tiring. They're going to make sure you're getting lined up fast, and they're going to make sure you're running. You might be sticking 2 deep routes in a row, got to run back to the line, get back to it. They're going to make sure you're in shape. They're going to make sure you're running around. And, playing against the guys we got in this offense, we're going to be ready to play against anybody in the conference. We got some great athletes out there.
Okay, last question. Who's got the best hair on the team?
Oh, the best hair? I'd say myself, of course. Like you can tell, but we got a few guys with some locks.
Thank you, Nick. Next young man, there's a lot of guys on this team that work hard. This one it may be at the top, and whether it's in the weight room, whether it's during practice, whether it's during walkthrough, it doesn't matter. And it shows both on and off the field. Wide receiver Gavin Landry.
Thanks, Coach. Like you said, we're excited. We got the ball rolling in January with our first meeting. And, I mean, you could feel the culture change as soon as he walked in the doors, especially with having to keep coming back for the meetings. That was something we aren't used to. And then we got it rolling in this summer when we all got here. It was 96 of us that reported in July, which was nice. We got a bunch of team chemistry. It's the highest I've seen and it's going on my third year here. Something we never really had was team chemistry. Guys hanging out off the field and on the field. We just have good chemistry. Moving on to the receiver room, we have some guys in there that can really play. We added a lot of depth. I think we came in with 16 receivers, so we got some dudes that can go ones, twos, threes. We can all rotate in at any position and get the job done. We're excited. And the depth also adds with the up-tempo offense we have with Coach Smiley, being able to rotate and trust guys out there, get the job done.
Hey, Gavin, watching practice the last couple of days, you're not at 100%, are you?
No, sir. I actually tweaked my groin 2 days ago, so I've kind of been holding out, trying to get ready.
It doesn't look like you're holding out because you keep looking at the position, taking the play, making the play. Talk about that mentality of not yielding and pushing through the
Our coaches preach about finding a way, and I mean, I tweaked it, but I wanted to try to get the job done for my brothers out there, and I mean, if I can go, I'm gonna give it all I got. So yeah, if it started to limp, but then I went on and held out the past 2 days just to make sure I'm ready to go.
I was pretty fascinated yesterday. You looked around like that, and he calls speed sweep and sweep, giving you the ball in that situation instead of giving it to somebody else. What does that mean to you?
Just show that he has trust in me, and that they know I'm going to do exactly what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it, and just get the job done.
All right, this next young man had the opportunity to take to the Southland Conference Media Day back 3 or 4 weeks ago. So that tells you we got 13 seniors on the team, one of the 13 seniors. I'm glad his football is a little bit better than his basketball, and I'll leave it at that and let him tell the story. Tight end, Kalen Meggs.
How y'all doing today? That everything you just said was not true. But I'm glad we're here today. I'm glad that the team is back. I know we're all excited about what's going on this season. You know we got a big game coming up August 30th. A lot of people don't believe in us, but we know as a unit that we can go out and get any job done any day. The offense has been blazing a lot thanks to the man sitting over there. He's a smart man, basically a guru. He knows his stuff. He knows how to make sure you're open, and if you run the right route on their play, anybody can get the ball in this offense. The defense been working lights out. We know they know how to get to the ball. They actually do a drill every day, so it's 11 people swarming to you very fast if you get the ball in your hands. And the offense knows that if we get the ball, burst through. So I know this team works hard, and I know we're going to get after it. So I'm glad to be here.
Hey, Caleb, you caught 2 balls all last season. Almost for a touchdown. Pretty good ratio. What do you think is going to be production this year?
I think the tight end role is magnified now with him as the OC because it's not just you're a tight end in this offense, you're the number 3 receiver. Like, you have a certain route concept that you have to do. You can be lined up out wide at number 2, number 3. We're trying to get number 1 out there, see if we can make that happen. So.
Okay, now Coach Laird referenced this basketball thing in the conference meeting. Tell us about that, and do we see the potential for a rematch or an open day league?
Okay, so listen. I don't even know, it's arcade basketball, so it really don't count. I don't even understand. Like, I think my machine was broken. He also had like 3 more basketballs than I did. I had 2 basketballs. He had like 6. And I was shooting with my right hand. I'm dominantly left-handed. And so he won by like 3 points. He was hot. I had 55. He had like 58. And I know if I'm making every shot, he had more balls, so that's why he won. But I'm gonna give him his victory. He the head coach.
We want to make sure we eliminate excuses, right? All right, next, also a young man that started 11 games also at safety, coming off an injury right at the end of the summer last year. Finally, probably mid-season, getting 100% healthy, but definitely healthy now. Safety, Ryan Reed.
Hello. Going into my fourth camp here, I'm a redshirt junior. Just excited for the season, like everyone has said here. Coach Lucas bringing the energy day in and day out, and just getting turnovers every day. That's what he preaches, and that's what we're going to do. As far as the defense, we lost 2 big linebackers. Definitely going to be hard to replace them, but we definitely have some new guys, Blake Stevenson and a few other JUCOs players coming in, and we're excited to replace them and get this year started.
Ryan, you're an all-academic South Conference forward as well. 3.8 grade point average. How much pride do you take in that? How much work does it take to do that?
Like they said, the NFL means not for long, and I take great pride in my education. Engineer major. I just look hard in the classroom and try to be perfect at all aspects.
Okay, you played quarterback in high school. Your receiver in high school is now one of our receivers. First of all, give us a scouting report on Jazz Burger. And second of all, are you talking to coaches about maybe getting a little back in the groove, quarterback throwing the Jazz? Does that come up at all?
I'll leave the throwing to our other quarterbacks. I can run the ball a little bit, but not much of a thrower. But yeah, Jazz is definitely a great addition to the team. He's a great player on the field, out the field. He's goofy, brings the energy up for the team, and he just throw it up there and let him go get it.
We actually had an opportunity in the spring where we had all the offensive guys go to defense, all the defensive guys go to offense, and we took snaps, and Ryan was at quarterback, and we're going to leave his quarterback days to high school. Next, talking about a young man, what this football team exemplifies as far as toughness. Had a situation yesterday in the weight room, got real steamy. Coming off the glute ham machine as he was doing actually sit-ups on it, hand slipped, cut the back of his head, went to the hospital, got 6 staples, and did not miss a beat. Transfer linebacker from Trinity Valley, Blake Stevenson.
I mean, I think these guys hit it pretty good. I mean, I think the biggest thing is people are like, everyone's buying in. I mean, everyone wants to win. Everyone's really excited. We're ready to win.
Blake, what allowed you to come in? Now, if you're an offensive guy and you came into Trinity, we'd understand your quick assimilation to the Demons. But you're a defensive guy with a new coach, and yet you had a really good spring. How did that happen?
I mean, I came in, I wanted to compete. I like to win. At Trinity Valley, that's what we preached. Coach Smiley, I want to win. I want to be great.
Yeah, Coach Lucas, what's his approach like to describe him as a coach?
High energy. He wants us to be great. He's going to yell at you, but he loves you.
He yells at you, but he loves you.
Yeah. Because he cares about you.
It's a loving deal.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, Blake.
Thank you, Blake. Last but not least, one that will be a junior now, was going to have the opportunity to be a senior. Will actually miss his senior year. Would have been a 4-year starter for us at O-line. I'm not sure whether to call him Chris Zirkle or Coach Zirkle. But I tell you, he's taken that role just like he did in the classroom, just like he did on the field as a football player the last 3 years. He takes the same role and wants this football team to be as good as it can be, and he's making sure each and every day he's a part of it and doing his job. And I know from an offensive line, not only Coach Pond, but those players really appreciate it. Offensive lineman Chris Zirkle.
How y'all doing? I just want to thank, just all y'all, the whole football staff, just the coaches for letting me a part of just all this, because I know it's hard once you get you are going to be out for a season, you know, it's hard to get just set off to the side. So it really means a lot just getting this opportunity. And Coach Pond letting me be the, I guess he says, assistant coach. I say assistant head coach, but, you know, that's fine. But it really means a lot. I know it was a hard decision to, you know, sit out this year and not play with my brothers, but, you know, this new rule really came into effect, and I'm glad I can come back. I mean, I'm not planning on coming back during the season. I plan on coming back postseason. You know, we're playing in playoffs, not playing, you know, the Southland schools, maybe these North Dakota, all around, you know, up north. So I'm looking forward to that. But whole offensive side, since, you know, I'm kind of helping out, coaching and all that, I get to see the whole offense, really the whole team, and it's probably the best offense I've been around, to be honest. And I've only been a part of it for 4 or 5 months. You know, the O-line, I mean, we have a lot of veterans coming back, Burns, Timmis, Frank Boudreaux, you know, and just more depth coming in, Khalil Corpacana coming from Trinity Valley. The receivers, Bryson getting them right, and I mean, everybody knows Jazz and Jalen Watson doing the thing. I know Bryson's getting them right. The quarterback, you know, it's still up in the air, but I mean, Clay did his thing last year. Shelton's doing his thing, giving a run for his money. And just the tight ends, Meg's getting them right. And then now just offense is looking really, really good. You know, it's gonna be hard watching them, but it's gonna be really good. I know they're gonna do their thing. Running backs, you know, they also did their thing as well. Jared West, I can't wait to see what Stafford Anderson does, honestly. I mean, he's got the physique for it. He's 6'1", a solid 230. I know he's hard to tackle. Who knows, maybe Charles Vaughn could get the ball, you know, on a goal line or something like that. I'd like to see him lower the shoulder too. But you know, the running backs, Jared West, you know, his stats speaks for himself, what he did last year. You know, we just got a lot of talent back there, just all around. It's gonna be one heck of a year for offense and defense. I know that. Just can't harp on it. Jazz said give him a shout out, but Jazz deserves a shout out. What he's been doing is just it's amazing. And then I know Quan Short's coming in and Bryson and all that. It's gonna be one hell of a year.
Thank you, guys. As you can tell, those guys chosen by their coaches to be part of this championship leadership was very well deserved, and we appreciate them. Look forward to a great year. Look forward to seeing y'all 5 home games this year, starting Saturday, September 8th against Grambling. Any questions, Doug? Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all all for being here. For the media remaining, we'll go outside, take pictures. These guys will change clothes real quick. We'll get you any one-on-ones that you need. Thank everybody else for being here.